Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, just to say again, hi everyone, I'm Yalith. Tonight I'm going to be teaching a 60-minute slow flow. It's going to be focusing on hip opening and some fun things like that. If you have my playlist, you can go ahead and start it now. And we're going to start in a supported Supta Baddha Konasana, or bound angle pose. So if you have 2 blocks or pillows or whatever you want to use here, placing them under your knees, and just a second, I'm going to mute you all, but putting blocks or pillows under your knees and rolling down onto your back. I am muting you all, but if you need anything from me, feel free to unmute yourself and yell out at me. So supporting your knees as much as you'd like, and coming onto your back. And just coming into the space. Relaxing your shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from ears. If someone unmuted, if you could please mute yourself. Just coming into the space here. If you'd like to join me, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through an open mouth. We're going to start with a brief pranayama practice of breath work. So we're going to take box breathing to start. So we'll take an inhale for 4 counts through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Lightly hold the breath at the top for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1, and suspend at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Allowing your eyes to close. Continuing this breath at your own breath pace. Holding the breath for as long as feels good for you. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and suspend. 2, 3, and 4. Take that a few more times at your own pace. The next time you exhale, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And as you continue to relax into the pose, take a moment lying here to check in with your physical body. Gently scanning from the crown of your head down towards your toes. Noticing any areas of tension or ease, comfort and discomfort. Any areas that you'd like to send more breath into today. Eventually finding an ending to that. And taking a moment to check in with the quality of your thoughts. If your mind is more chatty this evening, or if you're feeling more sluggish. And finally, taking inventory of what you perceive to be your emotional and energetic body. Ask yourself, how do you feel in this present moment? What are you bringing with you to the mat today? And with your exhale, let it all go. If you'd like to join me, we're going to find an ujjayi breath to carry us through this practice. This is the victorious breath. It's an audible breath that we use throughout vinyasa and hatha classes to help support and coordinate the movement. So if you'd like to join me, taking an inhale through your nose, and an exhale through your open mouth as if you're fogging up a window. And finding that same tension in the back of your throat on both your inhales and your exhales. Finding an oceanic sound in the back of your throat and allowing this to carry throughout your practice. Cultivating this breath now so that you can use it later. When you're ready, use your arms to bring your knees up, pointing to the sky. Move any props out of the way. As you reset your knees, pointing up to the sky, grab your right knee and pull it into your chest. Give it a little squeeze. Start to massage through that joint. And as you're ready, take 3 circles of your right ankle to one direction. And eventually 3 circles to the other direction. Luxuriate through this movement, taking it as slowly as you'd like. When you feel complete there, taking 3 big circles of your right knee in one direction. Making these as big or small as feels good to you. And eventually reversing that in the other direction for 3 circles. Allowing the breath to flow. And eventually finding stillness with that knee hugging in towards your chest. You can find your right hand to the outside of your right foot. Now taking a half happy baby, thinking of drawing right knee towards your right armpit. Maybe placing left hand on left hip, gently guiding it down towards the mat. Trying to keep your pelvis even on both sides. Option to take any conscious movement here, maybe bending and slightly straightening your right knee. Eventually bending that knee, bringing your knee back to the center of your chest. Give it one more squeeze into your chest. And on your exhale, release it down to the mat. Take a moment to notice any differences between right and left side body. And when you're ready, bring your left knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze. Take any movement here, massaging into that joint. And when you're ready, taking the same thing on the other side with 3 ankle circles in one direction and 3 ankle circles in the other direction. Eventually taking 3 big circles with your knee in one direction, making these as slow as you can. And eventually reversing that to take 3 big circles in the other direction. When you're ready, finding a moment of stillness, hugging left knee into your chest. Come to find your left hand to the outside of your left foot. Coming into half happy baby here. Left knee pulling down towards the floor. Maybe finding your right hand to your right hip, or guiding it down towards the floor as well. Trying to stay grounded in this pose. Maybe taking some conscious movement here, straightening and bending left knee. No need to go into your deepest range of motion here. We're just starting class. Eventually fully bending left knee and pulling it in towards your chest for one more squeeze. And an exhale to release it down to the mat. Take a moment to windshield wiper your knees back and forth, releasing your lower back. And when you're ready, rolling onto your left side, using your right arm to press you up into a seated position. We're coming right into tabletop pose, swinging your legs around or diving over ankles, finding wrists directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. From here, we can already start to engage Hasta Bandha or hand block by pressing finger pads down into the floor as if you're creating a puff of air under your palms. And engaging Uddiyana Bandha, scooping your navel up towards your spine as if you're pressing the floor away. Both of these blocks are very important in the practice to give you stability in more difficult poses. From here, we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. So inhale to release belly to earth, open your chest, V shifts up. Exhale, press the floor away, cat pose, finding an even curve from tailbone to the crown of your head. Inhale, coming into cow. Exhale, press the floor away, cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, cat. Taking any other conscious movement here that feels good, maybe taking some T shapes, looking over right shoulder towards right hip, drawing the two together. Inhale through center, exhale to find that on the other side, looking over left shoulder. Maybe taking some barrel rolls or anything else that feels good as you start moving your spine. And eventually finding a moment of stillness in tabletop pose. On your next inhale, extend your right leg out to the side of your mat into a variation of Parigasana gate pose. Keeping your hands on the ground, move right hand to the center of your mat. Inhale, left arm up overhead. Stay for the inhale. Exhale to replace left hand down to the floor. Now moving left hand to the center of your mat. Inhale, right arm up overhead. Exhale, thread right arm under your left for a variation of thread the needle. If this doesn't feel awesome in your body, releasing right leg down to a more traditional thread the needle. Find some engagement in the right leg, pressing it into the ground. Breath is flowing. Staying here for one more breath. When you're ready, finding left hand in front of your face, inhale to reverse that back, right arm coming up overhead. Exhale, both hands come back to the mat, hands under shoulders. Find stability here. Inhale to lift right leg up off the mat to the side. Stay here. How slowly can you rotate that leg back to the back of your mat, toes dialed down. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows, bow forward, thinking chest and chin towards the ground. Inhale to come back up. Exhale, knee to nose, thinking cat pose, press the floor away. Inhale, extend back out. Energize through your right foot. Exhale, bending elbows, chest and chin, aim towards the floor. Inhale to extend. Exhale to stay here. On your next inhale, if it feels good, lifting left arm up off the ground. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, knee to elbow again. Press it floor away with your right hand, thinking cat pose. Inhale, extend out. Energize through fingertips and through the bottom of your feet. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale, both hand and foot come back to the mat. Take a moment here for any conscious movement of your spine to reset before we take the other side. Eventually coming back to find wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Inhale, extending left leg out to the side of your mat for a variation of gate pose legs. Now left hand comes to the center of the mat. Inhale, right arm up overhead. Finding a twist here, opening through your chest. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, right hand comes back to the mat, finding the center of the mat with your right hand. Inhale now, left arm comes to your heart and extends up overhead. Keep breathing here. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale to thread the needle, left arm goes under right. Maybe your right hand stays in front of your face, maybe it extends out across your mat. And again, if this doesn't feel awesome in your body, maybe bending left knee and coming into a more traditional thread the needle. Can you press energy into the floor with your left leg to activate the stretch? Maintain your Ujjayi breath. When you're ready, right hand comes in front of your face. Inhale to sweep left hand up overhead, reversing the pose. Exhale, hands come back to the mat, finding wrists under shoulders. Keeping left leg extended. Inhale, lifting left leg up off the mat. Stay for a breath. Energize through your foot. How slowly can you revolve that leg back to the back of your mat, toes dialed down, energize through your heel. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, bend elbows, chest and chin, reach towards the mat. Inhale to come back up. Exhale, press the floor away, down to your back, knee to nose. Inhale, extend back, energize through your foot. Exhale, bend your elbows, finger pads are pressing into the mat. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hold here. On your next inhale, maybe your right arm floats up over the mat, thumb pointing up. Stay for an inhale here. Exhale to round back, right knee to right elbow to left knee. Inhale, extend back out. Energize through fingertips and through the bottom of your foot. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale, everything comes back to the mat. Stay for an inhale, and on your exhale, release back into child's pose. Let your chest hang through your arms as forehead meets the ground. When you're ready, come up onto tented fingertips, finding activation in your arms. And walk your hands over to the left side of your mat for a side body stretch. Maybe right hand comes on top of left as you relax your head down towards the mat. Right hip anchors back. Breath is flowing. And when you're ready, bringing energy back into your arms, walking through center and all the way over to the right side of your mat. Now finding left arm on top of right and releasing head down to the mat. Think of pulling left hip back and right hip forward as you find a side body stretch here. Eventually taking one more breath here and inhale to walk hands back to the center of your mat. Gaze looking forward in between your thumbs, and on your exhale, release forehead down to the mat. Take one more breath in child's pose. And inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, inhale to roll up, coming into cow pose, arching your back, elbows slightly bend and hug towards sides. Exhale, tuck your toes, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale to round your back, coming back into cow pose, releasing knees to the earth. Exhale, melt back, child's pose. We're gonna flow through that a few more times. Inhale to cow. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, melt back, child's pose. We'll take that one more time with your own breath pace. How much can you luxuriate through every vertebra of your spine as you press into the floor with your hands? And eventually finding one more half round in order to stay in downward facing dog. Feet are hips width distance of the back of your mat. Heels press towards the ground. Energize, pressing the floor away with your upper body. Head finds neutral. Taking any conscious movement here, maybe walking through your feet. Maybe you be shifting one knee to the center of your mat and then the other. Or maybe taking a deep bend in both knees, allowing hips to draw up towards the ceiling. When you're ready, rise up high on your toes. Shift forward over your hands into plank pose. Gaze shifts forward. Exhale, bend your knees, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rising up on your toes, shift forward over hands, plank pose. Exhale, bend knees, press back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take that one more time, rising up onto your toes, shifting over hands, gaze shifts forward. Stabilizing through shoulders, finger pads pressing into floor. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale to rise up onto your toes, look to the front of your mat, and on the bottom of your exhale, slowly walk in between your hands. Allow your knees to bend as much as you'd like. Finding one hand to opposite elbows in ragdoll pose. Release your head. Let it hang heavy. Maybe swinging a little bit from one side into the other. Eventually finding your hands release. Bend your knees deeply and slowly roll up. Finding Tadasana mountain pose. Rolling shoulders up, back and down. Energize your fingers. Feel all four corners of your feet pressing into the mat. Come back to your Jai breath here. Inhale, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, take a deep bend in your knees. Swan dive forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, coming up to fingertips, finding length from tailbone to crown of head. Exhale to release, take a large right step forward and backward into a runner's lunge. Stabilize through your hips as if you could hover, hands off the floor. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, release knee and foot down to the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead, Anjaneyasana, knee down crescent. Inhale here. Exhale to sink a little deeper. Inhale, finding even more length. Exhale, open to a twist. Right arm in front of you. If you want more, finding right hand to left knee. Maybe bending and floating right foot up off the mat. If it's accessible to you, maybe finding right foot into left hand. If you're there, pressing some energy into your hand to activate the stretch. Stay for one more inhale. And one more exhale. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hands find the mat. Energize to your back leg. Step back into plank pose. Stay here for an inhale. Exhale to release knees and feet down to the mat and slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Hands in position under shoulders. Inhale, press the floor away, cobra pose. Expand through your chest. Can you traction your elbows back towards your hips for a deeper back bend here? Stay for the inhale, exhale, melting back down to the floor. Inhale through tabletop, exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And when you're ready, inhale to take a large right step forward in between your hands. Runner's lunge. Again, stabilize your hips, dial open shoulders. Stay for the inhale. Exhale to release knee and foot down to the ground. Inhale, arms up overhead. Knee down crescent. Breath is flowing. Finding length on your inhales. Sinking a little bit deeper with your exhale. Take one more inhale. Exhale to twist. Left hand comes in front, right hand reaches behind you. Maybe you stay here, maybe left hand comes to right knee. Using that to deepen your twist. Maybe you stay here, maybe left leg floats up off the mat. And if it's accessible to you, maybe right hand grabs the left foot. If you grab your foot with your hand, pressing energy into it to activate the stretch. Stay for one more breath. On your next inhale, arms up overhead onto the asana. Exhale, hands to the mat, energize to your back leg and take a large step forward to the front of your mat, forward fold. Let it all go here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Upward salute. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here to balance the energy of right and left side body. Inhale, arms overhead, upward salute. Exhale, deep knee bend, forward fold, hands come to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold, hands plant, take a large left step back, runner's lunge. Again, stabilizing hips, stay for the inhale. Exhale to release knee and foot down to the floor. Inhale, arms up overhead onto the asana. Exhale, shift back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Maybe hands come to blocks or the floor. Trying to keep a straight spine here. Press energy into the right heel to activate the stretch. Think of pulling right hip back and left hip forward. If and only if it's part of your practice and you feel warm enough, option is go to Hanumanasana full split. Think of having your back knee pointing down towards the earth. Energy stays in front foot. If you're there, maybe taking a twist, finding right hand on the back of your left leg. Wherever you are, stay for a few more breaths. Take one more inhale. Exhale to release. Back hands to the mat, coming back into a knee down lunge. Energize through your back toes. Back leg, take a large step back, plank pose. Chest opens. Exhale to release knees and feet to the ground and lower all the way to your belly. Shift hands under shoulders. Inhale, come up, cobra pose. Traction elbows back to your knees, hugging them into sides. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale to melt down to the earth. Inhale through tabletop. Exhale, downward facing. When you're ready, inhale to step left foot forward. Finding runner's lunge. Stabilize your hips. As if you could float hands off the mat. Stay for an inhale. Exhale to release knee and foot down to the ground. Inhale, arms overhead onto the asana, knee down crescent. Inhale here. Exhale, shift back, Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Finding hands to the floor to blocks. Can you straighten through your spine? Sending energy out the top of your head. Pressing left heel down to the mat to find some resistance. If you did on the other side and would like to continue on this side, coming into Hanumanasana, full split. Again, back knee is pointing down towards the mat. Front foot is energized. Maybe you take a twist, finding left hand to right leg. When you're ready, inhale to come back to center. Put weight into your hands, coming back to a knee down lunge. Energize through your back foot and take a large right step forward to the front of your mat, forward fold. Let everything go here. Maybe finding hands to opposite elbows in ragdoll pose. Eventually find your hands back to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, hands to heart center. Breathe here. When you're ready, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, deeply bend your knees. Swan dive forward. Hands come to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Step back into plank pose. Sustain here for a few breaths. Again, clawing finger pads into the mat. Finding length from your heels and the crown of your head. Stay here. Exhale, release knees and feet to the ground, or if it's in your practice to shake chaturanga. Exhale, release all the way down to the mat. Shifting hands under shoulders. Inhale, come to cobra. Exhale, release down to the mat. Inhale through tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment of any conscious movement here. Your next inhale, float the right leg off the mat. Take a large right step to the outside of your right hand for a lizard lunge. Option to stay here. Option to release back knee down to the mat. Maybe releasing back toes, getting a little bit deeper. Opening through your chest. Option to stay here. Option to come down to elbows or to blocks. Your breath is flowing. Only take this as far as feels comfortable to you. When you're ready, come back up to your hands. Inhale to lift right hand up overhead. Maybe you stay here, maybe you continue to twist, opening right shoulder. Maybe you stay here, maybe you bend left leg. If it's accessible to you, grabbing that foot with your hand. Staying here for just one breath. Inhale, arm comes up overhead, coming back to the mat. Energize through your back leg and take a large step back, downward facing dog. Feel some neutralization here. Pressing equal weight into hands and feet. When you're ready, take a large left step to the outside of your left hand. Lizard lunge. Open your shoulders here. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you release back knee to the floor. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you release elbows to the earth. Taking any variation that feels good to you. When you're ready, coming back up to your hands, inhale, left arm up overhead, finding a slight twist. Maybe you continue that, extending left hand behind you. Maybe you bend your left back knee, and only if it's accessible, grabbing foot with your hand. Maybe pressing a little bit of resistance into that hand. Breath is flowing for one more inhale and one more exhale. Inhale, arm comes back overhead. Exhale, hand to the mat. Energize through your back foot. Take a step back, downward facing dog. When you're ready, rise up high on your toes. Look to the front of your mat and carefully step between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Let everything go. You bend knees as deeply as you'd like. Find a release in this pose. Inhale, arms overhead, upward salute. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find a little bit of resistance between your hands. We're going to take some balancing here. First, finding weight into all four corners of both feet. When you're ready, stepping feet together, big toes touch. Inhale to raise right knee up off the ground, coming into a standing mountain pose. Hands can stay in heart center. Option to stay here or to cross right foot over left knee. Maybe now, sitting back into thinking chair pose, finding a standing pigeon here, or standing figure four. Find stability in the bend of your knee. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Inhale, coming back up to standing, knee comes pointing up. Flex your foot down, stay for 1 more breath in, and exhale to release your foot to the ground. Do not shake it out, resist the urge. Allow it to sit in your body as we take the other side. Step feet together, toes touch. Inhale to rise. Left knee pointing up to the sky. Option to stay here and work your balance here. Maybe you cross left knee over right. Maybe you slowly sit back, thinking chair pose. Use your hands at heart center to stabilize you. Gaze is forward. Hips sink back, weight is in your heel. Inhale to rise up, knee pointing up to the sky. Finding a playful energy in all of this. Stay for 1 more inhale. Exhale to release foot to the ground. Inhale, arms overhead, upward salute. Exhale, deep bend in your knees, forward fold. Heel toe your feet back out to hips width distance. And indulge in this forward fold for a few breaths. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Step back into plank pose. Stay here for a breath. Option to take knees down cobra or chaturanga to up dog, or to just press back downward facing dog. When you find yourself in downward facing dog, taking a little bit of conscious movement here. Press your finger pads down into the mat. On your next inhale, lifting right leg up over the mat. Exhale, think right foot to left hand coming into pigeon pose. Option to sit up on a block or a blanket under your right hip. Trying to put it at somewhat of a diagonal, making this a little bit more accessible. If this isn't calling to you today, option to take a figure four stretch on your back, crossing right ankle over left knee and hugging it into your chest. Option to stay here on your hands or to melt forward onto elbows. Maybe letting head release down. If you want more, option to thread left hand under right into a thread the needle variation. Adding a twist to the movement. Maybe extending right hand up in front of you. As you let yourself release a little bit deeper with each exhale. Press your right foot into the floor to activate the pose. Keeping some muscle engagement here will keep you safe. When you're ready, coming back up onto both hands, if you aren't there already, energize to your back foot and take a step back into downward facing dog. Take a moment of neutralizing energy in downward facing dog. Notice any differences between right and left side body. When you're ready, inhale, float left leg up off the mat. Exhale, think left foot to right wrist. Coming down, pigeon pose. Again, option to come onto a block or blanket here. You open your chest wherever you are. Maybe now coming down to your forearms. And if you did on the other side, maybe threading right arm under left to deepen the stretch or the twist. Maybe left arm extends out in front of you. Breath is flowing into this pose. When you're ready, finding left hand in front of your face, come back up onto both hands. Opening your shoulders, Tuck your toes behind you and take a step back into downward facing dog. This is going to be the last downward dog of your practice, so take any more conscious movement here that you think would feel good. Notice any differences from when you first did downward facing dog in this class. If your hamstrings are more open, or if you're feeling stronger in your shoulders. Inhale to rise up onto the balls of your feet. Look to the top of your mat and slowly step between your hands. Inhale to walk hands forward in front of you as if going towards downward facing dog. Keeping energy, reaching forward, slowly sink your hips down towards your heels. And once you're there, slowly rocking back to sit. If that doesn't feel good to you, just coming to sit in whatever way feels good. Come to find knees pointing up. Take a moment here, finding hands to the insides of your legs. Take a moment and press knees into hands energetically. Finding an isometric contraction here to reintegrate what we've been opening. Stay for one more breath. Exhale to release. Now taking hands to the outside of your knees, press knees out into your hands. Again, trying to reintegrate hips. Breathing here. Stay for the inhale, exhale to release. And when you're ready, extend both legs out in front of you, finding Dandasana staff pose, hands by your sides, feet pointing up. Opening your chest. Option to stay here, option to walk hands forward, only as far as you can. Keep a relatively straight back. Staying here for one more inhale, exhale, maybe you roll your back forward, releasing forehead down towards the earth. Rounding your back, letting everything go. Inhale and exhale. Maybe pressing heels down to the mat to engage your hamstrings. Eventually finding weight back into your hands to slowly walk back up to a straight spine, sitting up. Go ahead and release your feet to the mat and shift your hips a little bit forward. And find your hands behind your legs here. Shift back off your sits bones a little bit. Maybe you float your toes up off the ground. We're heading towards Navasana boat pose. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you lift legs to parallel from the floor. Maybe you release arms out in front of you. All of these options are great. Maybe from here you straighten legs up. Or maybe if you're really feeling it, extending arms up overhead. Option to flex your foot or point them, but wherever you are, sending energy through fingertips and through your feet. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. One more inhale. And one more exhale. Inhale to find a little bit more length. Exhale, how slowly can you release back down to the floor, coming to lie on your back. When you're ready, bending knees to point up to the ceiling, allow them to windshield wiper from one side to the other. And eventually finding stillness with knees pointed up. Take a moment to walk your shoulder blades back behind your back. We're going to take a variation of bridge pose for a couple breaths. So pressing feet into the ground, roll your hips up off the ground, coming into a back bend here. Maybe you stay here, or maybe hands clasped behind your back. When you are in this pose, do not turn your head. Keep your gaze looking straight up towards the ceiling. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Take one more inhale. And one more exhale. Inhale to press hips up even a little bit further. Exhale to slowly roll back down to your back. Refrain from hugging your knees right into your chest. Take a moment to kick your feet out to the edges of your mat and let knees knock in to neutralize your spine for a moment. Let your breath flow there. When you're ready, we're going to take that bridge pose one more time. Now finding knees pointing straight up to ceiling, ankles right underneath. Again, press your hips up off the ground, finding a back bend. Maybe clasping hands behind your back, walking shoulder blades under you. Find as much of a back bend here, it feels good. Breath is flowing. As you find more length in your inhales. 3 more breaths. One more inhale. And one more exhale. Inhale, lift hips a little bit higher. Exhale to release down to the mat. Kick your heels out. Release knees to the middle of your mat. And reconstructive rest. When you're ready, heel your feet back to center and think wide-legged child's pose on your back, taking knees wide, toes to the center of your mat for a spinal neutralizer. Please don't hug your knees into your chest and curl your back yet. Allow it to find some neutralizing first. If a happy baby would feel really good here, option to take that with hands to the outside of your feet, rooting tailbone down to the earth. And eventually hugging knees together and hugging them into your chest, giving them a squeeze, maybe rocking back and forth up and down your mat. And when you're ready, releasing arms out to the side into a T. Shift your hips a couple inches to the right and slowly let your knees release to the left side of your mat for a reclined twist. Only once your legs have finished moving, maybe you turn your gaze over your right hand. Right shoulder is heavy towards the earth. Try and find more release on every exhale. When you're ready, gaze shifts up first and slowly pull your knees closer to your chest as you slowly roll back onto your back. Release feet down to the ground. Neutralize your hips. When you're ready, shifting hips a couple inches to the left, knees come into chest, and slowly release your knees down to the right side of your mat now. Only once your legs have finished moving, maybe gaze shifts over left hand. Notice how your breath feels different in a twist. You can think of expanding your belly in 360-degree angle, fully expanding with every breath. And when you're ready, gaze coming back up to the sky. Pull your knees tighter into your chest as you slowly roll back onto your back. Find your hips to neutral and give your knees one more squeeze into your chest. Maybe head comes off the floor, curling into a little tiny ball. Maybe rocking back and forth up and down your mat. Doing any more conscious movement you need in a cool down fashion. And eventually extending legs and arms long, finding Shavasana. Allow your feet to relax out, palms face up. Walk your shoulder blades under your back. And with an exhale, allowing your eyes to flutter closed. Again, coming back to what we thought about at the beginning of class, taking a moment to check in with the physical body. Relax your forehead, the muscles behind your eyes, your nose, jaw, neck, throat, shoulders, both arms, upper back, your abdomen, pelvis, both hips, both legs. Letting exhale, relaxing any bit more that you can. The whole body relaxed. And eventually coming back to check in with the quality of your thoughts. Just observing, taking inventory of how you feel at the end of this practice. And eventually coming to check in with what you perceive to be your emotional or energetic body. Again, with a curious observation and no sense of judgment. And eventually releasing all control. Just coming to relax and observe the body. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going. That many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. When you're ready, start to deepen your breath. Invite subtle movement back into the body, wriggling fingers and toes, maybe circling ankles and wrists, shaking your head no, massaging the back of your head against the mat, and maybe taking a full body stretch with your arms up overhead. Eventually coming to roll onto your right side, using your right arm as a pillow. Take a moment on your right side here to reflect on your practice. Take a moment of gratitude for yourself for showing up today, for your body for carrying you through this practice, and for this practice and everything that it has to offer us on and off the mat. When you're ready, press your left hand into the floor, coming out to a comfortable seat. Hands can come to knees, or if you'd like to join me, bringing hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. I honor the place in you on which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, of life, of truth, and of peace. When you are in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, we are one. If you'd like to join me, bringing knuckles to third eye center, we'll seal this practice with a blessing of Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for your practice.